Adaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandrodaya ki jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So welcome everybody for the Sunday morning session on the topics in the book called The Science of Self-Realization. Most of you will be having this copy of this. If you don't have this, you can click this name, the internet, Google it. You'll get this free available on the internet. Very wonderful book written by Srila Prabhupada. Actually, this book is a compilation of many essays written by Srila Prabhupada and few conversations Prabhupada had with eminent personalities across the globe. Professors, scientists, doctors, thinkers. And also, we have in this book some very wonderful exposition on the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and the scriptures, read in a very, very simple manner. In fact, we recommend this book for any beginner in spiritual life. It gives such a wonderful analysis of everything and scientific approach of the whole subject matter of spiritual science. So now let us begin with our today's topic, a very interesting topic today. So today's topic is called Superconsciousness. All of us are aware that we are having consciousness, or we are conscious, and we'll try to understand what is superconsciousness in today's session and how understanding of this will help us to move forward in our journey of life in a more positive, meaningful, and purposeful way. This session is dedicated to our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, who has established worldwide Hare Krishna movement centers and ISKCON centers. During his manifest presence, he established 108 temples. And now we have more than 600 temples of Hare Krishna movement all over the world. Let us begin our understanding with a question. What is consciousness? What do we mean by consciousness? Because we keep hearing this word, consciousness. Our movement, ISKCON, the full form of ISKCON is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So what does consciousness convey the meaning to us, or what are the various understanding we should know about consciousness? In the Bhagavad Gita, the very beginning, Lord Krishna explains this aspect. I'm just taken the few important points for our understanding today. If you understand, in our own case, every individual person, either we as human beings or so many other entities, living entities around us, we can understand that each of us are conscious of the pains and pleasures of our body. Like if I'm going through some suffering internally, say I'm having headache or having some body pain in specific part, I have that painful experience. Or I'm very happy, I can experience the happiness. Right? I am specifically concerning this whole pains and pleasures is concerning my body. Then this specific aspect of spreading of consciousness, actually, if you carefully understand, it is limited to our own body. And further we can see, if somebody else is going through some pains or is excited or is very happy, yes, we can see that he is very happy or he is very going through pain, but the amount of pain or the intensity of pain or the ecstasy of joy, you may not be able to experience the same, right? So the individual pains and pleasures are specific to one's own self. That's what I wanted to convey. So in this way, we can see each of us are an embodiment of specific pains and pleasures for ourselves. So this is the definition which Bhagavad Gita gives. Each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul called Atma. Because all of us are living entities, spirit souls, Atmas. We are all having a body now, and we are going through different pains and pleasure experiences. And this is what is understood as consciousness, that when the soul, which is present in the body, the symptom of the soul is perceived as individual consciousness. Right? Once the soul is out of the body is no more conscious or no more aware of what is happening around the surroundings. There is no experience of pains and pleasures of the body. It is very clear. Right? We have practical experience of it. Difference between a living body and a dead body. The soul is present in the body means that particular body is conscious. The body may be a body of an animal or a tree or a bird or whatever entity. Right? The soul is present in a particular body means it is conscious. Maybe there are different grades of consciousness. Bhagavad Gita explains. There are different grades of consciousness. But we have to understand that as long as the soul is within the body, any body, the consciousness is present. And consciousness is a symptom of the presence of the soul. This is the definition of consciousness. And the definition of soul, or rather the size of the soul, is being explained very nicely in the Bhagavad Gita. The soul is described as a very minute particle. How minute it is? It is 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size. Just imagine how small it is. Now, if you take your soul, then divide it into 100 parts, take one more part, again divide it to one more 100 parts. And that part, 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair, your hair, that is the size of the soul. So small, so microscopic. Rather, you cannot, Bhagavad Gita says the soul size cannot be measured through any gadgets, through any instruments. Right? We had a session previously wherein we were understanding how the physicians and the heart experts were trying to figure out where is the soul in the body. When the heart transplant happens, they're trying to find out where is the soul. How is that the soul leaves the body? They're trying to record. So soul is beyond our material instruments to be noticeable. It is called achintya. Achintya means that which is beyond our limited understanding, to know, to comprehend. That is the definition of soul. It is achintya, it is aprameya. Aprameya means it is beyond our measurement. Because so many things in the material world we measure to the minutest, say, decimal or whatever measurement we have. But soul is beyond our material measurement. Basically, Lord Krishna wants to inform us through Bhagavad Gita that soul's identity, soul's presence cannot be perceived by our material instruments, our material senses. It has a different type of a approach. But soul is present, right? Because I am having the soul in my body. I am able to speak. I am conscious. That is the point. So, because you have soul in your bodies, so because of which you are able to hear, you are able to attend this session. So, this is the definition of what is consciousness. Let us understand what is superconsciousness and how to achieve it. Because nowadays we hear this term, superconsciousness. And we want to become super conscious. It's a very common buzzword. Let us get into some more details of what the scriptures say about super consciousness. There is a feature of Lord Krishna who is present everywhere. Right? That feature is known as Paramatma feature. And the Paramatma feature is present in every living entity, in everybody's heart. And then this Paramatma feature is so wonderful that the Paramatma is within atom also. That is the definition of Paramatma. The statement in Bhagavad Gita which says, Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishtaha matta smritir jnanam apohanamcha. Which means Sarvasya chaham hridi. In everybody's heart, it may be the heart of a tiger, heart of an insect. Everybody has the faculties. So in everybody's heart, every living entity's heart, Lord is treated as Paramatma. The statement which Bhagavad Gita Lord Krishna mentions. Which means he's all pervading. Not only in every living entity, in fact, in every atom, Lord is present. Right? This is a very important understanding to move forward, because when we say in our body, not only I am present as spirit soul, I also have one more soul known as super soul or Paramatma in my heart, in this body. So there are two souls in my body, individual soul and super soul. Super soul is also known as Paramatma, who is in everybody's body. We'll understand more about Paramatma, super soul. And he is conscious of every nook and corner of his existence. It's like your house, your occupier of that house. You know every corner of that house. This room, this corner, this is lying down. Or this room, the ventilation is like this. This room is meant for this purpose. So you are aware of the house you have occupied. Likewise, this whole creation, which is the wonderful manifestation of Lord Krishna, he has created this world. So he knows every nook and corner of this whole existence. Right? This is such a wonderful revelation, which makes us think and understand that this world is not simply created for nothing, or this world has no controller, this world has no creator. This is wrong understanding. In fact, Bhagavad Gita mentions very clearly, one who is having this conception that this world is without any creator, without any controller, he is an atheist, he's a demon. So this world, the created world, has a creator. There is a purpose, there is a reason, there is a plan for this whole creation. And the creator knows every nook and corner of his existence. That is the Paramatma's or super soul's position. Next. In the Bhagavad Gita, this aspect is very clearly explained in 13th chapter, the third verse. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetrajnayor jnanam yatta jnanam matam mama. Lord Krishna says, O sign of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. This is my opinion. So in this specific verse of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is giving us the wonderful understanding that apart from I in the body as a knower of this body, the soul, there is also one more knower, that is super soul, Paramatma. He is not only in my body, he is in everybody's body. That is the understanding. This is the knowledge. Krishna says, this is knowledge. Understanding that in my body, there is a soul, and in my body, there is also super soul. There are two souls. And what is the function of the super soul? We'll move forward and we'll understand it better. So this is the knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita as a fact. You may deny, or you may say, I don't see, I can't see. So Paramatma is so close, sitting in your heart. Right? All our bodies, Paramatma is sitting. So Lord Krishna is also seated in the heart of every human, every animal, every bird, every insect, within every atom also. So no place is vacant. In the creation of the Lord, there is no place that is without the presence of the Lord. The very wonderful pastime of Lord Narsimhadev, who appeared when Hiranyakashipu, father of Prahalad, Hiranyakashipu was a big demon, we know the story. He was so much torturing his son, Prahlada. And Prahlada's only fault was he was a nice devotee of Lord Krishna. And he was always remembering Lord Krishna. So Hiranyakashipu was so much against the devotion of his son, but he wanted to torture his son so much. He practically wanted to kill him at one point of time. And before killing him, he was inquiring, where is your God? So Prahlad Maharaj said, God is everywhere. He's all pervading. This is the understanding. As Paramatma, Lord is everywhere. So specifically, Hiranyakashipu wanted to confirm whether your God is there in this pillar, in my palace pillar. Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, he's there. So Hiranyakashipu became very angry. He took his club and wanted to strike that pillar and kill the Lord. The Lord has his own way. He appeared as Narasimhadev, half man, half lion form, and he killed Hiranyakashipu. Which means Lord is present everywhere. It's just that according to specific situations, specific circumstances, he will manifest. But for a devotee like Prahlad, they can see God everywhere. It's just that we have to have a proper vision. That's the point. So God's presence is all pervading. He is everywhere. There is no place which is vacant. There is no place which is without the presence of God. This is a very, very nice example to make us understand this aspect of the all-pervading nature of the Paramatma. Just like each of us now, in the daytime now, we are all seated in our house or some people are moving around. Right? Each of us are specifically situated in one place. Whereas the sun is again an individual entity in the sky, the horizon. Sun, it looks like as though sun is having its influence on me by its rays, by its heat. Each of us feel that as though sun is present on my head. So even in the material example of our own experience, we can see the powerful sun is so wonderfully situated that each of us feel the presence of sun as though sun is right directly on my head. Similarly, Paramatma, even though he's having his original situation in the spiritual world, his expansion, his all-pervading nature is so wonderful that in each and every entity's heart, Paramatma is sitting. In every atom, Paramatma is situated. That's how the whole world is running, because of Paramatma's existence. This is the wonderful image of Paramatma as described in the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. He is actually known as Janardana form. The form of Janardana having 4 hands. Form of Vishnu, he is having 4 hands. Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. You can see carefully. The 4 hands, each hand is having one particular specific thing. Shankha, conch. Chakra is a disc. Gada means club. And Padma means lotus. This is the Paramatma feature. Now let us understand that we as Atma have a specific feature. And Paramatma, who is known as the individual super soul, has a specific feature. Because there are some spiritual disciplines, spiritual schools, who claim that Atma, Paramatma are same. No difference. Right now we are Atma, individual soul. We become Paramatma eventually. This understanding is not correct. As per Bhagavad Gita, the identities of Atma and Paramatma always remain. We can never become equal. Now, what is the understanding and how is that we are situated specifically? We can understand with this next slide now. If you carefully understand, as Atma, individual soul, we are all present in a specific body, particular body. All of us are embodied, right? This is what is Bhagavad Gita explaining to us. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe. We have a deha. Within the body, there is a dehi. Dehi means the occupier of this body, the owner of this body. So we are specific to one body, our existence as spirit souls. Whereas Paramatma's way of existence is that he is present everywhere and he can expand into millions of different forms. Right? Every body in this world, whomever you see, as a living entity, has Paramatma also in that particular body. This is a wonderful revelation, which means every body is an embodiment of individual soul and Paramatma. And we are present. The soul's presence is perceived as consciousness throughout the body. Similarly, the presence of Paramatma within this creation is perceived as superconsciousness. Right? We know only about our body, but Paramatma knows what is happening in everybody's body, what he is thinking, what pains and pleasures is going through. This is Paramatma's situation. So we are having limitation with the awareness of our own body, whereas Paramatma is all pervading. He is superknower of everything. Very, very important, revelation which the scriptures are making, which the great acharyas are giving us, because this will open up a different type of a understanding in our whole thinking, because we are only concerned about our thinking now. Me, my body. We are limiting our understanding or our thinking as me and my body. We are going through a consciousness known as my consciousness. My body, my relative, my home, my society. This is the consciousness we are going through. But we have to understand that there is a super consciousness, super knower, a supreme proprietor, who is known as Paramatma, who knows everything in everybody's body, what is going on, is omniscient, is omnipresent, and is a supreme he is a supreme proprietor, owner of everything. Right? Let's move forward. So like this, the super soul has some specific functions, which it is going to actually Paramatma is having specific functions in each of our bodies. What are the functions? The Paramatma is situated in the heart region, but no modern instruments can detect it, material instruments. But there is a way to understand Paramatma, that is by hearing from the Vedic literatures, called Shruti. Right? From hearing from authorities, we can understand Paramatma's situation. So Super Soul, who is present in everybody's heart, he is acting as a witness of all our activities, past, present, and future. There's somebody who is sitting and watching everything we are doing, everything we are thinking, everything we may intend to do. Right? Whatever our intention, desire, purpose, everything Paramatma knows. But externally, you may show that, I didn't mean that, I didn't want to do like this. But Paramatma knows what is your intention. Right? So like this, there is one personality in our body who knows everything about our whole existence, much, much beyond what we know. We may know something about this life, but Paramatma knows our past lives. And what is going to happen to you in the future, he knows everything. This is one important function of Paramatma. Upanishads say the super soul is sitting with the individual soul, one as witness, one more as friend. As a friend, what is he doing? As a friend, Paramatma is always anxious to get the individual soul to its original situation, that is, go back to spiritual world, back to home, back to God. It's a very important principle we have to understand here, concept which Bhagavad Gita explains. See, as spirit souls, we all belong to spiritual world. But we have forgotten our service in spiritual world. We didn't want to serve Krishna at one point of time. When it happened, it will be revealed to us when we go back. But right now we are in a situation of forgetfulness. Krishna bhuliya jiva. Why did we forget Krishna? Because we wanted to enjoy this material world independently. Krishna bhuliya jiva bhogavancha kare. When we wanted to independently enjoy this world, then we were sent to this material world. Nikatastha maya tare japatiya dhare. In the Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter, Krishna explains, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata. When you desire to have an independent life, independent of Krishna's service. And when you want to imitate like Krishna, this world, material world is created for you. It's like this. A person who doesn't want to follow or obey the laws of the state, what does government do? Government through its law and order situation, law and order system. The person who doesn't want to follow the rules, regulations of the government, he will be captured, he will be put in a prison, jail, so that he rectifies his consciousness. No, I'm a citizen, I'm supposed to be abiding by the laws, rules of the state. It's a common understanding we have. Similarly, in the whole universal arrangement of God, when we living entities don't want to obey Krishna's order, system which Krishna has established, we are put in a specific situation, in a specific body. This body is the imprisonment for us. Right? Like this, we keep judging our imprisonment. This life, human body, next life based on our activities, type of different karmas, and type of different good and bad things you do. One more body you get, maybe human body, may not be human body. Like this, our life is going on. Right? So, this is our material existence, material world. We have been imprisoned in this world since time immemorial. Sooner we understand we are imprisoned, we are not part of this material world, just like any person in the prison will be waiting when I'll be released, when I can become a normal citizen. Likewise, we living entities, we are imprisoned in this world with specific bodies like this. Our material world is going on. This is called conditioned life. A life of repeated birth and death. You would have heard of the word Bhavasagara. Bhavasagara means this material world wherein repeated birth and death happens for us. But this is not very much to our liking. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to grow old. Nobody wants to take birth again. It's suffering. So our situation is that of being very happily placed in spiritual world, but we have forgotten that situation and we are simply going on in the material world, a conditioned life of repeated birth and death. So Krishna, as Paramatma, is sitting with us for one and only reason, as a very good friend of ours, to tell us that why are you simply suffering like this? Turn back towards me, listen to me, come back to spiritual world. This is the whole purpose. So Paramatma's role is very crucial in all of our lives. As a witness, he knows everything about our lives, previous lives. And as a friend, he's constantly endeavoring how to bring us back to track, bring us back to the original situation of our existence. So, and as a witness, because Paramatma knows, oh, in the previous life, you desired like this, or you have committed an action like this. And because Paramatma knows everything about you, he, as a witness, he bestows or endows benedictions that result from your previous actions. Everybody is carrying a baggage of karma. Karma means specific actions and specific reactions you have to enjoy or suffer. So Paramatma knows what one has to enjoy, what one has to suffer in a specific given time. So in our life also, when we experience different situations of happiness, distress, right, name, infamy, like this, many ups and downs, many emotional upheavals we go through in our lives. Why it is happening in everybody's life? Because all of previous karmas, Paramatma is manifesting slowly as prarabdha karma, as karma which we are supposed to experience, because we have so much of karmas in our previous lives, unlimited stock. Some portion of it is designated for this life, so we have to enjoy and suffer that. This is what Paramatma is doing us, because he is a witness. He knows what is the stock and what has to come accordingly. What is fructifying now? So the super soul gives the individual soul all the facility for achieving whatever he may deserve and desire. See, many times we complain, oh, I am desiring so much that this particular thing has to happen in my life. But first of all, when Paramatma is going to sanction that, before sanctioning, he sees whether you deserve, whether you are having the necessary qualification to enjoy or suffer that particular desire, what you're having. So unless we don't have that qualification or deserving ability, just like I may think that I want to become Prime Minister of India tomorrow, but you don't have necessary qualification, because becoming Prime Minister is not an ordinary thing. should have some abilities in you, some skills in you. So if you are thinking very strongly, I want to become Prime Minister, Paramatma will facilitate, maybe in future lives, that you may acquire necessary qualifications and you will become a Prime Minister. Like this, many things we have been desiring since time immemorial. And all these things, whatever stock we have, desires, unlimited desires, all that is slowly manifested, one after other, one after other. So the lesson from this, whatever discussion we had just now is, we should not desire anything material. It is mentioned in the scriptures that we don't even desire the position of Indra or Brahma, because all these positions are part of this material world. We should desire to become part of Krishna's association, spiritual world. I want you, Krishna, because I belong to you. This is the desire we are supposed to develop. Then Krishna will take us back. We will not be in the material world anymore. Okay, so Paramatma wants us to come to this position. Right? Otherwise, Paramatma is the neutral manner, is just sanctioning, is witnessing all our actions. This is the function of superconsciousness, which is functioning in this entire cosmos. The final instruction of Paramatma, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, last instruction is, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami ma suchaha. Meaning of this verse is, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. See, look at the instruction. Lord Krishna, as Paramatma, is instructing that you please surrender to me, which means you give up everything else and just do what I am telling you. And I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not worry, don't fear, don't hesitate, Lord Krishna is telling. This is the final instruction for all of us. But what is happening with us is, we are not listening to this instruction of Krishna. We are just independently want to do whatever we want. So when you want to do something independent of Krishna's plans, then Lord also will be sanctioning, okay, you want this, become like this. You want to become a dog, become a dog. Next life. You want to become a bird, okay. Based on that, you acquire karma and you become a bird. Like this, we're going on in 84 lakh species, different life forms we're taking, and we're rotating in this material world. We're moving all over this universe. So, the last word of Bhagavad Gita, in fact, is the last word in the matter of perfecting the yoga system. Right? Basically, the situation of ours in the material world is so precarious that we have been going on like this in different situations, trying to experience, explore, exploit different things, and finally we are ending up with illusion, dissatisfaction, defeat, bewilderment. This is our situation. So the recommendation given in Bhagavad Gita is that you follow a specific yoga system. And this specific statement, which we just now heard from Bhagavad Gita, is the last word in the matter of perfecting that yoga system. You understand what is yoga system? Moving forward. But right now, let us understand, Krishna recommends a specific yoga system. Right? The different yoga systems described in Bhagavad Gita. Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and finally Bhakti Yoga. So Lord Krishna says that in order to achieve Krishna consciousness or super consciousness, we have to dovetail our consciousness with the supreme consciousness. Right? It's not that we become super consciousness. No. It's like this. When you're connecting yourself with a high voltage line, you will be able to draw the current as much required for you from that line. Right now, if that wire is disconnected, it will not have any current flowing in that. Even though you'll have all arrangements from that line in the house, you may have fixed all the wonderful fixtures of light or fan or AC. None of the things will function if it is not connected to the main line. Similarly, unless our consciousness is dovetailed means connecting to the supreme consciousness, we will remain in the material world, going on in different bodies and not understanding our situation, and we'll be in a completely bewildered state. We'll be thinking, why this is not happening? Why this happened like this? Like this, we'll be in an illusion state. Sooner we connect to the Supreme Consciousness through our buddhi, intelligence, sooner we become Krishna conscious, or we get super conscious connection, and we revive our original situation, and we go back to our original situation of being in the spiritual world. This is the essence, sum and substance of Bhagavad Gita, right? So we can achieve super consciousness by dovetailing our consciousness with super consciousness. And coming to the point of how to do this is what Bhagavad Gita explains as the yoga system. There are different types of yoga systems recommended. Let us get into more details of what does yoga mean actually. Yoga, in a simple language, means to connect or to link with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Right now, mostly people don't feel that I am connected to Krishna. Just like we feel so closely connected with our family members, our friends, our relatives, our colleagues, but we don't feel that connection with Krishna. We feel, oh, Krishna, maybe some person, some historical person, some great person, some powerful person, maybe. Like this, we think. So, yoga is a process, a vidhi, to connect or link with Supreme Lord again. There are different processes recommended. One process recommended in Bhagavad Gita is called Ashtanga Yoga. In this, it is mentioned that you have to search out 400 super soul, which we saw the image, super soul form within our heart, and see him perpetually in meditation. Right? We have to look for the super soul within our heart through a specific system, which we'll describe now in a later part of the presentation. And such continued meditation is called Samadhi. Okay. Then there's also one more definition, which means real yoga practice is to fix the mind on the person of the 400 Narayana form, who dwells in everybody's heart. So yoga is not simply to meditate on something void or impersonal or something which is not having any meaning. Sometimes people say we have to focus on some light, or you have to focus on something, some object. No, that is not the purpose of yoga. The purpose of yoga is to connect yourself with Supreme Lord Krishna. Supreme Lord Krishna's feature is as Paramatma is in your heart. And there's a specific method recommended in the scriptures, especially Bhagavad Gita, how to get connected to the Supreme Lord. Right? And after getting connected, you have to constantly keep your meditation on Krishna, the Narayana form of Krishna, which is there in the heart. That is called yoga, actually. Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains this word yoga in one of his lectures. If we simply connect or link with Krishna, that is called yoga. See, the whole purpose is how to keep connected. I gave the example of keeping connected with the power line. Right? Yoga means connecting the link. So there are different processes of yoga system. The best yoga system is described in the Bhagavad Gita. It is called Bhakti Yoga, which means always think of Krishna within your heart. Right? We'll understand this particular concept as we move forward in the presentation. Now, the Bhagavad Gita and the Patanjali Yoga discipline, they explain the very process of yoga involves an important principle, which means when you practice any yoga, it may be dhyana yoga, jnana yoga, karma yoga, anything, ashtanga yoga, bhakti yoga, the most fundamental principle of any yoga system is yoga indriya samyama. What does it mean? It means real yoga practice means controlling the senses. This is the beginning of any yoga system. Without this, any yoga system, any yoga practice is useless. Right? It's something which is very, very basic qualification or the basic requirement of any practitioner of yoga. We'll try to understand this requirement of controlling the senses, which is so basic, which is known as yama, niyama, do's and don'ts. This is common for anything. Just like when you go to, in Delhi, we have metro stations. There are so many rules, regulations put up before we even climb the stairs for the metro station. We should not spit here. We should not, do this, do that. All of rules, regulations, do's and don'ts will be there. Similarly, yoga, the process to connect ourselves with Krishna, has a lot of regulations that begins with controlling the senses. And we have 5 senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses. All of them have to be controlled fully. The Bhagavad Gita in chapter 6, there's an elaborate description of one yoga system called Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga means that yoga has 8 limbs, 8 different steps to move forward in the perfection of yoga. I'll just read out this, this yoga system. Very interesting to know. What are the regulations which actually Ashtanga Yoga has, and what our modern day, which we practice as yoga, which we know as yoga, what is it doing actually? So verse number 11 and 12 of chapter 6 reads like this. Chicho deshe pratisthapya siram asanam atmanah nati uchcharitam nati nicham chaila janakushottaram tatraikagram manakritva yata chittendriya kriyah upavishyasane yunjat yogam atma vishuddhayet. Last word of this 12th verse, you can see yogam atma vishuddhayet. The purpose of performing yoga is to purify your soul of all contaminations. Yogam atma vishuddhayet. Right? So the meaning of this is to practice yoga. First requirement is you should go to a secluded place. Next, you have to lay shusha grass on the ground and cover it with deer skin and it's a soft cloth, which means you cannot practice yoga in a city or a congested place. The yoga system which Krishna recommends, Ashtanga Yoga, which people generally perform, Yogasana, Pranayama, all that is not practical in the cities. You should go to a secluded place, a place where there is nobody to disturb you. And you should select a suitable place of sitting. Further recommendation Krishna gives, the seat should not be too high, not too low, and should be situated in a sacred place. That's why we see generally the performance of yoga, yogis, we find in Haridwar, Rishikesh, right, Prayag, Ayodhya, Vrindavan, all these places, they have a lot of yogis sitting and doing their tapasya, their yoga. The yogi should sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. It's very important. The whole purpose of yoga practice is to focus your mind, focus your attention on Paramatma feature. See, so many recommendations are there. Next, further, it is described, next set of verses described, Samam kayam shirogrivam dharayan achalam stiraha sampreksha nasikagram tvam dishashchanava lokaya prashantatma vigatibhir brahmacharya vrate sitaha manas samyamya macchittau yukta asita mattaro. Further recommendations, Krishna is telling that one should hold one's body, neck, head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind. It's very important to note here because if you close your eyes, you may sleep. If you open your eyes fully, the different objects, different things moving around will agitate you. Just imagine in the forest you are sitting or in a secluded place you are sitting and so much disturbance you can expect. What to speak of the modern day setup, wherein you are having your close friend mobile close to you. So close to you that every message comes, you are so disturbed. Who would have sent a message? Or calls keep coming to you continuously, emails coming to you. So we have to be unagitated, undisturbed. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, brahmacharya is very essential. One should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. See, very clearly Krishna is telling, meditate on me, nothing else. So let us get into some more details of what is this real yoga which Krishna is recommending in Bhagavad Gita, and what is this modern day so-called yoga which mostly people mistake it as yoga. Yoga means any process which will help you to connect you to Lord Krishna, Supreme Lord. But modern day yoga has no such intention. It's only going to do some gymnastics, something to reduce the fat in the body or to improve your health, not to get some disease. This is the intention, which is not at all purpose of yoga. The purpose of yoga is defeated in this. So I have some list made of comparison of different things for our understanding. The real yoga is an authorized system is recommended by Lord Krishna, whereas the modern day yoga is unauthorized and manufactured way of systems. And the real yoga, as we saw, it has to be practiced in a secluded place. It cannot be practiced in a congested place as modern day yoga is. There are so many yoga schools, yoga societies, but all of them are actually simply making a show. It's a farce. Right? Actually, real yoga, as recommended by Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, that cannot be practiced practically by anybody in this present situation. The yoga which you saw description just now is giving so many list of requirements, which is all concerned about how austere you should be, how self-restraining you should be. Whereas in the modern context, all of us or most of the people are living a life of extravagance, a lot of comforts, a lot of life of so much of sense gratification, right? So you also observed that the yoga system which is recommended by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, in fact any yoga system, they recommend complete celibacy, brahmacharya, right? Brahmacharya vate sitaha. Whereas in the modern day yoga system, you see there is no such restriction. You can do anything and everything, and you can also practice yoga. What type of yoga? A concocted way of yoga. Whatever you think as yoga, that is wrong. That is not proper. Which means you're not getting into the main crux or the main system of yoga. Simply you're doing it as a show. And further, we see the control of tongue is so important in yoga system. Whereas in the modern day system, you see adultery of tongue by consuming so many forbidden foods and drinks which are unmentionable. There is a, recently I heard, or rather I saw in the internet, wherein they're practicing how while doing yoga you can consume alcohol, right? Whereas real yoga gives a complete restraint to any such intoxicants. Whereas you are doing so-called yoga by consuming alcohol every sip, every now and then. This is all again, simply a farce. And this yoga, Ashtanga yoga, which Krishna recommends in Bhagavad Gita, has 8 limbs. Whereas the so-called modern day yoga is simply doing some portion of it, just like the 8 limbs I will describe. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. These are 8 limbs, which means Yama. Yama means so many rules, regulations you have to follow. And so many restrictions you are supposed to have. Means don'ts. What are don'ts? Niyama means what you are supposed to follow. Yama, Niyama. Asana means there are specific sitting postures, exercises, which you have to do. After you have controlled your senses, do's and don'ts, then you can do asana. Now after asana, there is pranayama. Pranayama means breathing exercise. You have to control your, the different airs in the body in a specific manner by breathing. Then there is pratyahara, means complete negation of any agitation from any sense object to your mind and senses. It is called pratyahara. Then you have to place the Paramatma feature, which is already in the heart, that should be fixed up in your mind. It is called dharana. Then dhyana. Dhyana means meditation. Then you get samadhi. Samadhi means continuous meditation, uninterrupted. So many steps are there. You just take one portion of it and start telling, I am doing yoga. That is not proper. So the real yoga system, the ultimate goal is to link with the super soul or Paramatma Krishna. Whereas in the modern day so-called yoga system, they have no specific goals. Just, I have to improve my health, or I have to, longevity has to improve, or cure some disease, or some mental peace, or time pass, something like that. People do all these yoga systems, this so-called yoga system. This is the irony of this present situation. So 5,000 years ago, when this real yoga system was prescribed to Arjuna, he flatly refused or expressed his inability to Lord Krishna to follow all the rules and regulations as prescribed by Lord Krishna, which just now we read. What is the reason? The reason is, first reason is, the different steps of the Ashtanga yoga, one of the yoga systems which Krishna prescribes, they have so many procedures, steps to be followed, which is not practical by everybody to be practiced in this age. Just like the first recommendation, you have to go to a secluded place. How many will be ready to go to a secluded place? All of us are busy in a city life with our families and our professions. Right? You may go for a break for a few days. Not that you have to go to the forest and live. Nobody would like to do that. Practicing brahmacharya, not easy. Present situation of society is so permissive. with mixing of women, men, boys, girls, right? Not easy. So like this, with so many faults and anomalies in this present age, not easy to practice this yoga system. That's why Arjuna rejected the system. And also, this age of Kali is symptomized by very, lot of degraded qualities. First thing we can see is that all our lifespans is reducing day by day. People say in Kali Yuga you are supposed to live 100 years, but how many people are living 100 years? Hardly anybody, or at least you can count. So we have reduced lifespan, Alpayusha, and we are Manda. Manda means we are slow in spiritual life or understanding of spiritual knowledge or self-realization. Right? If you have a session on spiritual understanding, hardly anybody attends, or their patience level is so less that 15 minutes they attend, they'll run away. Because they have more patience or more attraction towards some movie or something which is going to gratify their senses. Somebody was giving an example, one of our well-wishers, right? You have a satsang session or Gita session. People will always come late, maybe after the session or just before the session is ending, they'll be showing the attendance. Whereas you throw a party of liquor or something, you will see people flocking there much before the party is about to begin also. This is the irony of present situation. Because people are so dull-headed with regard to spiritual understanding. They don't understand the value of spiritual life. And over and above that, our whole situation is so unfortunate. Sumanda matayo manda bhagya. Even though you may be interested in spiritual understanding, there are so many so-called spiritual organizations who are there ready to cheat you, misguide you, mislead you. This is our situation. And finally, our situation is of constant disturbance, right? We have Corona, the COVID going on even now. When the next wave, third wave will come, we don't know. After that, what will happen? Everybody is worried. Like this, one or the other disturbance is constantly, we are all experiencing. This is our situation right now. So in this situation, if you tell them, you do this Ashtanga Yoga, it is not practical. That's why the recommendation which Bhagavad Gita gives is that it is giving a very simple and a very perfect yoga practice called Bhakti Yoga, which was practically demonstrated by one incarnation of Krishna known as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? So as I told you, Bhagavad Gita is giving us various recommendations. Finally, it recommends the most practical and the most suitable yoga system for the age of Kali. Kali Yoga, which we are right now living, is called age of Kali. So the recommendation in Bhagavad Gita is that you practice Bhakti Yoga. So what is this Bhakti Yoga? Bhakti Yoga is defined as a process wherein you're going to purify your senses. We have understood the definition of yoga as a process to control the senses, first and foremost requirement. But in Bhakti Yoga, we do purification of senses. We don't do controlling. Why? We'll try to understand. Actually, by purifying the senses, they're automatically controlled. I'll give a practical example of how our founder, Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America to preach this message of Bhagavad Gita and give this Bhakti Yoga to them. Because it's the highest process of yoga, a simple process which is going to purify you and liberate you or bring you to the spiritual platform, which is essential for all of us as human beings. So he went to America wherein there was a counterculture happening. There was a hippie movement there. The youth were all bewildered with the regular orthodox way of life, and they had revolted the regular way of living. They had given up their studies, they had given up their jobs, they had given up their regular way of family life. They wanted to have a free life of drugs, free sex, like that. So when Prabhupada went there, this was a movement very rampantly going on in America. So Prabhupada didn't impose them any rules, regulations in the beginning. Rather, he only said, you start chanting Hare Krishna mantra. You start hearing about Bhagavad Gita. So this process of chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Bhagavad Gita, and taking prasada, Krishna prasada, transformed these people who are all drug addicts, who are all doing a lot of activities which are abominable. They all transformed and they became nice devotees, Vaishnavas. Is a practical example. So our process of Bhakti Yoga No, the process mentioned in Bhagavad Gita is the process of purification. Actually, strictly speaking, you tell somebody you control your senses. If you say a person who is addicted to alcohol, if you say tomorrow onwards you should not drink alcohol, he will not be able to do that. He cannot restrain. Maybe in front of you, he may say, yes, I will not do. But again, the senses are driving you because you have been conditioned in a specific way. It is forcing you, pushing you, right? But the same person, if he is purified by taking the process of bhakti yoga, then automatically he'll give up those bad habits because you're positively engaged in service to Krishna. That is the whole beauty of this Krishna consciousness. Like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated the bhakti yoga process in a very simple manner. That if you simply chant the holy names of Krishna, as mentioned in all the scriptures, you are practicing bhakti yoga. So bhakti yoga doesn't mean you have to go to a secluded place, a forest, or a pilgrimage place. You have to sit tightly and then focus on your nose, tip of the nose. All these things are not strictly recommended. Rather, only thing required is you have to give your attention to the holy name. When you're chanting Hare Krishna, you chant and hear. It is the system which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced. Simply chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Right? So this chanting is enough to successfully practice this yoga system in this age. See, such a wonderful and simple system. It is very easy and practical for this age. No other process can be successful. And this is practically demonstrated by Srila Prabhupada in his own way when he started the movement in 1965 in America. And now we have people chanting Hare Krishna all over the world. Hare Krishna has become a common household name in all over the world. Right? So it is very easy. See, whereas other processes are not easy because, as you saw, Ashtanga Yoga has so many recommendations, so many hard rules, regulations. Everybody cannot follow. Whereas this chanting of Hare Krishna, a child can chant Hare Krishna, or a very elderly, senior citizen can chant Hare Krishna. Anybody can chant Hare Krishna. There is no age restriction. There is no nationality restriction. There is no restriction of, no, I am a woman, I am a man, I am rich, I am poor. No such discriminations. Anybody can chant Hare Krishna. So like this, we can see that this Hare Krishna chanting is very easy, and it is actually the system of Hare Krishna chanting, or this Krishna consciousness. Actually chanting Hare Krishna is going to link you with Krishna, connect you with Krishna. When you say Hare Krishna, you are connecting with Krishna because Krishna has appeared in his name in his material world. So Krishna consciousness system, which is being introduced now as a very authentic system as Bhakti Yoga, is not something which is concocted or manufactured. Already it is present in the scriptures, as Bhagavad Gita is mentioning. So Krishna gives, this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, what I'm going to read out now. Bhagavad Gita says, when we think in Krishna, when we chant in Krishna, when we live in Krishna, when we eat in Krishna, when we talk in Krishna, when we hope in Krishna, sustain in Krishna, we return to Krishna without any doubt. This is what we have been told, we have been practicing. It is very simple. All of these activities we do in a different way. But when you have Krishna in the center, yad karoshi, yad ashnashi, yad juhoshi, dadasiyat. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, do it for me, Krishna says. When you do like that, automatically you are doing Bhakti Yoga. This is going to bring you back to the platform of Superconsciousness. Right? So, and this is what Krishna consciousness means, or this is what it means, Superconsciousness. Because Paramatma, Super Soul, or Krishna, is all pervading. You want to connect to him, and when you connect to him through a proper method of chant his names, eat only Krishna Prasada, understand Bhagavad Gita, these activities will connect you to Krishna. And this will keep you in wonderful consciousness called Krishna consciousness or super consciousness. Right? Before we conclude, I have one nice quote from Prabhupada, which he has mentioned in one of the lectures in 1975. Those who have taken to this Krishna consciousness, chanting this Hare Krishna mantra, they are most fortunate persons in this world. So you can also become that fortunate person. Already if you are chanting, you are already fortunate. Increase your activities of say the reading of Gita and more chanting, you'll become more fortunate. So fortune is in your hand, right? So with this, we come to the conclusion of this session. We open the platform for any questions, any clarifications, or any doubts. Any questions, please? Any clarifications or any discussions, comments? Okay. You can ask through the chat also. You can type in the chat in case you have any questions or any things you would like to comment on. So to remind those of you who joined a little later, we are discussing from this book known as The Science of Self-Realization. It is a book written by our founder, Prabhupada, ISKCON founder. So he has written many essays, many articles. He has spoken to many eminent personalities across the world. So those very conversations, talks, and the essays are compiled in this book, systematically arranged subject-wise. So right now, we are discussing on the 5th topic in this book, known as Practicing Yoga in the Modern Age. Yeah, I heard some sound. Anybody would like to ask something? Hare Krishna. Okay. Yes, speak. You can speak. Somebody would like wanting to speak there, putting their microphone.
Monica.
Okay. Fine. Anyway, if you have no questions, it's okay. But I recommend that you read this book. If you have a copy already, it's good. If you don't have, you can click this name in the internet, Google it. You'll get it's freely available on the internet, and you can read that. And also, if you want a copy, you can always contact one of our devotees or one of our centers nearby. You'll get this book. A wonderful book it is. Fine. So with this, we will conclude the session today, and we'll again meet next Sunday with the next topic or the next session, next subject matter, continuing in the same book.